with us how you think it was an encounter.
Encounter. Really, I don't know what does this word in English, so can you explain me?
Yes, it means that people have a chance to meet each other, to have contact with each other.
Yeah, I understand. Now please repeat the question.
How do you think the meeting between your father and Mr. Garst, how does that match the word encounter? When they were able to get together on the farm, and then of course later as Mr. Garst went to Eastern Europe?
I think it was very important because as we are different civilization, not only culture, but civilization and economic change, many difficulties understanding each other because our decision making based on our own experience. For example, American experience, even the top-level politicians who inform about everything are very different from the Russians or Chinese. So they think that they understand the way of thinking opposite side, but they really it is their way of thinking. And here it is important meeting people to people on all levels, on the highest level and on the middle level. So while my father was very anxious to meet the businessman, the Western first bring his opinion and explain why he thinking is along that. And the meeting with Mr. Garst was very important because they have the close interests. Both of them were interested in agriculture and the increasing production of the agriculture. And if you're interested in this, you're finding the common ground. Yes.
How do you think it was an exploration?
Exploration of what?
An exploration of ideas, an exploration to come to his farm. I think you could look at it from various ways.
But because it was the explorers, when my father was in the United States, he looked how American because it was much more advanced than Soviet agriculture. And when he was near Washington D.C. at the Beltsville, the laboratory, he asked them, it was the same as the Garst farm. Because he wanted to go around, he wanted to look at his land, he wanted to look how he growing corn, how he managing his livestock. And as you remember, he told that he looked at the size of the farm. It was as Soviet collective farm, and he asked how many people working here. And Mr. Garst answered me and my 4 sons. We have somebody told him several, maybe 100 same size Soviet collective. So each they can work effectively. Different aspects of this. It's also cultural, the political, and did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
How do you think that, what kinds of exchanges did they have as they visited and talked about the production on the farm?
But my father had a report about the production on the farm, on the Garst farm, on the American agriculture. It was in the broader level. And each time but it was very important when you go see yourself.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, Jude, ask your next question.
Okay.
all right, you disappeared from my screen.
Yeah, it was like,
It was messing up, so we turned off the picture so we could just see you.
yeah.
Okay.
Right. So,
Real loud.
I think I'm gonna start off with, why did your father feel that visiting Garst's farm would provide him with the information on how to change the way the Soviet agriculture was done?
Because, as you know, Mr. Garst introduced the corn seeds, and he practiced in a effective way. And when it was a station in the United States, 1955, they first met with Mr. Garst, Senator Khruscev, long for Hamich's report about all these things. And then, after that, in September 1955, my father met with Mr. Garst, and they have very interesting and informing conversation about farm, about the possible trade, and my father bought everything what Garst offered and more. So through this, when you are interested exactly in this area, in this farm, you will be interested in what you would want to visit us. From them, another went read it, and both of them wrote books. The most interesting aspects of the American report was about the Garst and his hybrid technology.
Mm-hmm.
As my father told, we knew that before, it is nothing special there. It was nothing special in the report from the Great Britain. It doesn't mean that it is not successful agriculture. It is mean that when you are trying to do something, you are looking for some exact point which you in your country, visiting other people like a tourist. Will go there, will have some dinner with you, and
Okay. All right, your next question, Jude.
Why did the Soviet Union just not import foodstuffs when the country was in such famine?
why Soviet Union import what?
Did not import the foodstuffs that they needed when the famine was so severe.
First of all, it was no famine in 1955.
Okay.
Famine was in 1947, and the Stalin decided that he don't want to spend his reserves for importing food, even it was possible. For Khrushchev, it was not the famine. It was not need to buy this food immediately. He wanted to increase his own price. You cannot import food all the time, and especially at that time, Soviet Union did not have extra money. They did not have not oil, not natural gas. They had not discovered at that time. Secondly, the Soviet Union was under the blockade.
Okay.
It was the same sanction like now, but much more severe, and the United States didn't sell anything. They wanted to put the strong pressure on the Soviet Union just to change regime in the Soviet Union. Of course, Soviet Union didn't want to accept this. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No problem. Yeah, please.
Okay. when your father learned of the success that American farmers were having on their fields, what was his vision as he brought it back to the Soviet Union? What was he hoping that would happen?
It was hoping you using different invention, different technology to improve your own production. It is natural to the Soviet Union, it is natural to the United States. It can be invention, your domestic invention, American, or it can be imported from the other countries. So my father looked and supported all research and development in the Soviet Union, not only in the field of agriculture, but he also wanted to use the knowledge that have the other countries, and not only United States, but Germany and other European countries.
Okay. Why do you think your dad accepted the challenge from the Des Moines Register, the paper here in Iowa?
You cannot say that it was really
Invitation.
it was because my father think that we have to compete in the production of the consumer goods, because that system will be more successful, will make better satisfaction to them who produce more weapons. And when he read in the Des Moines Register that they're offering the same, he wanted to use it. He said, oh yes, you're inviting us, we will come. Thank you.
Okay, go on, Jude.
Okay, why did the farmers of Russia have so much trouble following through with the advice and directives of Roswell Garst?
Why
did the Russian farmers have so much difficulties following through with what Garst suggested that they do?
Have such different problems? Because first of all, Union, this south of Ukraine, Moldova, they knew nothing of corn.
Okay.
Corn was alien for them. They don't know what does it mean. And when it is alien, you will be very suspicious of this, especially that this is require different technology and different agriculture. The Russian farmers who lived in the much north, they produced sweet, rain, and this means but the corn much more touch, much more work, it's much more affected by the weeds and others. So when we introduce this new product, all the time we have the difficulties. For example, before in the 18th and 19th century, the potato came to Europe, and before, no potatoes there. In France and Russia didn't want to focus, not to eat. Know that you have the fruits under the ground. And it was different attempt to introduce it. The French king, he made a wise decision. He told people, I will grow them on my king's fields, but I will not allow you to share with me. It will be only my product, not yours. And this creating the envy and the animosity, and the farmers started to steal it and to spread it in France. In the saw in the Tsar Peter the Great and his successor told, no, you have to grow this new crop and we're giving you order. And some farmers grew the potatoes, but because they was not really learn what does it mean to do potatoes, so they tried not potatoes, but these red berries that you have on the potatoes. It will oh, they're both not poison. So surprisingly, they said that surprisingly is potatoes. So it was the same as Khrushchev. The farmers sabotaged it because it was also centralized economy. It was based not on the profit but on the report to the higher entities how to fulfill the plan. So the local officials reported, yes, we saw the corn fulfill the plan and they didn't take care about this. And it also showed to the people that this is not growing in our area. You see this, we saw it when we lost this land, it was only wheat there. So it took a long time, for about half a century or more, until the corn really became the part of the agricultural production in Russia and in Europe, by the way. Europe also didn't use the corn in the 40s and 50s. It was only my father who introduced it to the Western Europe too.
Okay, go on, Jude.
Why do you think it was so difficult for the two governments to get past the Cold War?
What difficult?
We'll say it again. Why do you think it was so difficult for two governments to get past the idea of the Cold War when all it took was two gentlemen to shake hands and sit down at a kitchen table?
But it was not difficult, but you have the understanding that the Cold War is not emerged from nowhere. It is different national interests of the Soviet Union and United States. And the United States wanted to dominate of the world, and Soviet Union challenged it. So you try to just fight against this. Also, it is the politicians who are using this in their own interest. And the military-industrial complex, mostly in the United States, who need the Cold War to increase their production and their profit. So it was the American common vision that we have to contain Soviet Union because they are very aggressive and they will attack us even it was no intention to attack. The same as now we talk about Putin.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that Putin will attack Europe? There's no evidence of this. Mm-hmm. But everybody in this country believe in this. And we think that we have to increase our presence in Europe. We have to increase the military spending. And then through this we'll increase the profits of the military-industrial complex. So it was this relation from which it took a long time to bring these countries together and to make better understanding. It was started with Khrushchev and Eisenhower, goes through Kennedy, and then through their successors. At last, we came to the end of the Cold War. At the Gorbachev-Reagan time, but now we have the new wave of the cool weather, I will say, and also generated by United States. They thought we have to punish Putin. Why we have to punish Putin? Because Russia lost the Cold War, and Putin wants to pursue his own vision of their own interest. And we will not use the diplomacy, we will just spread him, and the Putin wants the same way, will increase military production. And then we talk, no, the Putin is the dangerous so we have to increase our military production. It is such logic that sometimes driving our political elite that have no real understanding. When I asking the old people, why do you think that Soviet Union wanted to attack United States? Why? United States was the biggest military power in the world. United States have the superiority of the nuclear weapons. United States has much bigger economy. Soviet Union will not able to, even if they want to attack United States, to take over. And they don't know, we don't know why, but you know that you have to be contained. You have to read this long telegram from Moscow, said in 1947, it was his ambassador, I forgot his name. We have to contain Russia because they're too dangerous and I don't like them. Now we say we have to contain Syria because President Assad is the person whom we don't like. Even the United States mostly responsible for creation mess in the Middle East, not Assad and the civil war in Syria. So we have our own vision and our short-minded understanding of the events, and then propaganda doing the rest. You watch this on TV, it's repeating the same things. And if you want to something very different, they will not allow you to speak.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I got too far.
Yes, you're doing great. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a couple more.
Okay, what special qualities did Garst have that Khrushchev could relate to?
Why the guys think thought?
What special qualities? What were the things about Garst that your father could relate to?
But it was his creativity and his enthusiasm in his field. Because my father liked to creative people, new inventors, the successful businessman. He's interested in them not only because he wanted to learn from them, but it was interesting in them to talk. So my father enjoyed talking with Garst the same as you enjoy to talk with your new friends.
Okay.
Okay.
Why was it important for the Soviet wives to come along on the trip? Did that give a different picture of the Soviet people as they came, or was it just something that would have been accepted at the time?
Why the Soviet trip was so important? It is important because any relations between countries, when you're visiting other countries, they improve, and you better understanding other countries. And it was, you can introduce your own vision of the events, and you learn something from the vision of the other countries. So it was Soviet Union and United States, and the Soviet leaders and Russian leaders during the empire never visited United States. So it was important to do this. The same as now it is important. The President Obama visit to Cuba to introduce himself, to speak with them, and to open more to countries, and then maybe it will help to the future democratic transition in the Cuba and better understanding of Cuban policy in the United States. Yeah.
Another symbol that we had read about was the plane that they used to transport people. Was that a symbol of something at that time?
What plane?
The plane that they came on?
Yeah.
Was that a symbol, or did it just happen? We had read some information that it was a symbol of the Soviet Union and their rise to power in the development of military. I don't know. Maybe that's not true.
It is difficult to say what does mean symbol of the Soviet Union.
Okay.
A symbol of the Soviet Union was Herman's and the but at that time it was transition.
Okay.
planes, they have the prop engines to the jet engines. And the symbol of the United States Boeing 707, the Air Force One, which was offered by President Khruscev to Perro. And the Soviet Union produced his own passenger planes. One, it was Tupolev 104, that cannot fly without the landing to the United States, but it was the first the jet plane inside the Europe. It was introduced before Boeing 707, which also cannot fly over the Atlantic. And the Soviet plane, the named Tupolev 114, it was first plane who can travel over the Atlantic without landing.
Okay.
At that time, it was a record.
Okay.
So Soviets were very proud that they have this plane and they can travel without landing from Moscow to Washington or from Moscow to Vladivostok.
Okay, next question.
What is the lasting legacy? Like, what was important about what happened in 1959 that is still important today?
It is important to understand that the people-to-people diplomacy, the meeting between the important people who are in government and the ordinary people, will bring us closer to the friendship and farther from the hostilities. And this is most important legacy of all the things. It's very important that people of the state of Iowa make the karst farm the historical farm, and also that they have the exhibition of the Khrushchev visit, where these two people met together and can resolve all the problems during the dinner.
What is your fondest memory of the visit?
I think I told you, but he was very interested in this visit, and after that visit he met with Mr. Farm many times until he retired. The last time he met, about 2 months, it was a retirement, and they discussed the new ideas. At that time, Mr. Garst told, "You don't need my seeds anymore. Now you produce your own seeds, but I will bring you something new." And it is one of the things. And also, as they became friends, my father had this warm feeling and the memory about the Garst, about his wife, about his from my own.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Khruscev, for your time today. We really appreciate you taking time to do this and visiting with us. This has been a wonderful experience for Jude and I.
Yep.
And we are doing a documentary, so now we have the last piece, which is visiting with you. So we have good, solid information to put in our project.
Okay, this is good, and so good luck. And I hope
Thank you.
that I will help you to have the good place and win some prizes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.